I don't have any respect for anyone that's this educated that knows. He just laid it out. No primary. This democracy that they're talking about, they forced this guy out. Again, more democracy. They install Kamala Harris. And for someone like Stephen A., who's educated and smart, dude, we've hung out with him. We've broken bread with this guy. How can you in your right mind say that you are voting for Kamala Harris? She's bringing nothing to the table. She has no policies. They cheat when they freaking have these debates. There's no substance. Like, when somebody says I'm voting for Kamala Harris and you say why, there is no other answer, PBD, except she's not Trump. It's not Trump. It's not Trump.
Patrick Bet-David absolutely demolishes Stephen A. Smith in this video because of the things that he is saying about Donald Trump and about Kamala Harris. Stephen A. Smith has been unfathomably woke for the last few years, like turning every single conversation that they have on the ESPN network, and Stephen A. Smith is involved into some kind of race debate or something like that. No matter what the topic is, he finds a way to make it woke and finds a way to turn it into why white people are evil type conversations. Over the last few months, 6 months or so, Stephen A. Smith has started to come around a bit. I think a lot of people are starting to see the pendulum swinging in the other direction. And, now he's starting to agree more with people like Patrick Bet-David. But in this video, Stephen A. Smith says something so absurd that Patrick Bet-David has to destroy him for it. Let's get into this clip here from the PBD Podcast and the Valuetainment YouTube channel of Patrick Bet-David destroying the woke idiot Stephen A. Smith.
Let me see, what page is that Stephen A. Smith story on, Rob? If you can tell me, I'll go to it. Oh, here we go. It's not going to continue. It's not going to continue to work. Stephen A. Smith sounds alarm on Harris copying Biden's basement strategy. Rob, if you can pull up the clip of Stephen A. talking about this, I'll read a little bit about it, but it's just better you hearing. Is this it, Rob?
Yep.
Go ahead and play the clip.
I think that she has to turn around and she's got to hit him low too. It ain't like she don't have it ain't like she's devoid of the ammunition. She's got plenty of ammunition, and she.
Off topic, Stephen A. Smith is built so weird. He's built like one of those things from Men in Black. What were they? Were they crickets? Or what the hell were they? Roaches? The friendly animals from Men in Black? That's what he's built like. He's built so strange.
He's going to have to come out there swinging, because if you look at some of the things that he said, even with the product, that's why I went off on my podcast this last show when I was talking about enough of the hiding. Biden was the president. They greased the skid so he didn't have any competition for the primary, so there was no primary. And then ultimately he shows his face on June 27th, and we learned that respectfully, our president, he just didn't seem to have it anymore.
Yeah.
And so obviously the Democratic donors and what have you forced him out. She comes in there. You put her in there, and what does she do? She's using rallies as interviews. No, that's not the same thing. You got to go up there and fight fire with fire. He's showing up everywhere despite 34 felony convictions, 2 impeachments, multiple civil suits against him. He's going out there and showing his face everywhere. And then he's bringing up the war in Ukraine. He's bringing up the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in Gaza and beyond. He's bringing up some stuff that's going on with our borders, stuff that's going on in this country. And he's saying, where is she? He's doing that on purpose because it's an engagement in misogyny where he's trying to imply.
Misogyny? I don't know where that came from, but you have the ability to go on all these shows like Donald Trump, what Stephen A. Smith is saying here, and Patrick Bet-David's going to go and destroy him here in 1 second. But what Stephen A. Smith is saying here is 100% true. Donald Trump is going on any and every show that he can. And I think Barron Trump is actually telling him which shows he should go on and which ones he shouldn't. But he's going on every place that he can. He's going on Aiden Ross. He's going on, places that you would never think. He went on Theo Von's show, the Nelk Boys stuff multiple times. He's going everywhere. And the reason he's able to do that is because every time he's asked a question, he actually has an answer to the question. If Kamala Harris goes on Theo Von's podcast or something, or Lex Friedman's podcast or something, he asked her, hey, what's going on with the border situation? She has no answer. She hasn't done her job. Or I guess from a certain point of view, she has done her job if she's actually taken orders from powers who are above her, which probably is happening to let people through the border. So she doesn't have an answer to that question. Hey, what's going on with the economy? She doesn't have an answer to that question. And if the answer is, if she goes on these actual free thinking podcasts, people who are not tied to some higher power who's paying their bills, people who are the face of the brand and are the entire brand, are the owner of the brand, they can ask whatever they want. So whenever Kamala Harris gets asked a question and she tries to dance around it, they're just going to get right to the root cause. They're not going to allow her to say nonsensical answers. That's why she's terrified to go on these shows. You know, whenever she's like, or she'll give a response like, when I get elected next election, I'll fix this. I'll fix the border. I'll fix the economy. They can just follow up and say, well, you're the vice president now. Why are you not fixing it now? Or what are you doing to try and fix it now? But more than likely, she'll just try to act like those things aren't even a problem. And that's not going to fly on those kinds of podcasts. Like, imagine if Kamala Harris went on the PBD podcast. She would get destroyed.
I'm a man. I'm strong. I'm willing to show up and fight. Where is she at? You can't answer that by not showing up yourself. It's working now. Please don't get me wrong. I was making the point, it's not going to continue to work. You're going to have to show up and show out just like he does. Wherever he goes, you're going to have to show up and be like, I'm here too. Let's get it on.
Tom, what do you think about what he's saying?
Well, I agree that it's not going to work. So I agree with the core of what Stephen A. said. Hey, this isn't going to work. You got to fight fire with fire. What he is saying is, regardless of who he votes for or who he wants, his core point is correct. If you're going to run a campaign and you're going to, go up against somebody, you got to go out there and he's saying fight fire with fire because he's trying to give Kamala some encouragement, and then she's not doing it. And he's pointing out, Trump saying, who is she? So what Stephen A. is saying, hey, if we're going to, let's face it, Stephen A. doesn't have any respect for athletes that won't come get in the game. And he's right. And he doesn't have any respect for people that hide behind excuses. He doesn't let athletes give a fake excuse when they interview. He'll call that right out. And what he's saying here, hey man, you got to go out there and you got to get in the ring and you got to really fight. And I agree with him on that.
You look like you have a different idea.
Pat, listen, and Tom, I agree with what he's saying, but I don't have any respect for anyone that's this educated that knows. He just laid it out. No primary. This democracy that they're talking about, they forced this guy out. Again, more democracy. They install Kamala Harris. And for someone like Stephen A., who's educated and smart, dude, we've hung out with him, we've broken bread with this guy. How can you in your right mind say that you are voting for Kamala Harris? She's bringing nothing to the table. She has no policies. They cheat when they freaking have these debates. There's no substance. When somebody says I'm voting for Kamala Harris and you say why, there is no other answer, PBD, except she's not Trump. It's not Trump. It's not Trump. What is she running for? And nobody could say it. Nobody, Tom.
Did Stephen A. said he was running for her, or did he say the basement campaign strategy isn't going to work?
Yeah. No, but I.
You know what's actually crazy too? As much as everybody likes to say that Donald Trump is like the savior or whatever, I think he's low-key saving the left and saving Democrats more than he's saving the right wing. And you're going to have to hear me out on this. And I know a lot of you are going to get so mad that I just said that, but I think it's kind of the truth, because what Vinny just said and what PBD says all the time as well lines up with that. Is the only way that Joe Biden wins is not because of any policy that Joe Biden holds. It's not because he's competent or can even speak a complete sentence, because he can't. It's because he's not Donald Trump and he was the candidate. What are they going to do when Trump can't run anymore, or when Trump decides to not run anymore? They won't have that enemy of Donald Trump, and nobody can be the enemy of Donald Trump. I know they're going to try to turn Vivek Ramaswamy and whoever runs from the Republican Party, they're going to try to turn him into the same kind of enemy as Donald Trump so that they can just run on the fact that they aren't Donald Trump, but it's not going to work. There is going to be nobody like Trump again. What are they going to do? Because everything is going against them. The only thing that the Democrats have is Donald Trump bad. And since Donald Trump bad, you must vote for us, even if you don't like us. Even if we're going to run the country into the ground, if you don't want a convicted felon, threat to democracy, all the other buzzword phrases that they use, you must vote for us. What are they going to do whenever there's no more Trump to be the boogeyman? It probably will be better for the Republican Party and for the country overall whenever Trump is not running anymore, because they won't be able to run on vote for us, we're not Trump. I know it's going to piss people off, but I think it's the truth.
If I'm not mistaken, I mean, who do you think he's voting for? I think I've heard, Rob, that he said he's voting for Kamala. Am I mistaken? I don't think I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think he's voting for Trump.
No, absolutely not. Rob, Rob, did you say you have something to say? Is he voting for her?
Oh, no, I don't know. I just brought up this clip. This is Gwen Waltz to Vinny's point, Pat, if we can play this. This is her at a rally this week where they don't talk about any campaign issues whatsoever. Yeah. It's just We're not Trump. Vote for us based on that.
Yeah, could you see it? Could you see her up? Well, she's weird. Look at her
But
eyes.
I kind of liked it when she did this.
Turn the page.
Turn the page.
God.
You like that?
Huh?
Okay, so I need you to be with me and
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
Oh, my God.
Oh, pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page. And we're going to turn the page. All right, so I'm going to be watching you because when I see Wisconsin, and I'm one watching nationally on TV because this is a pretty important place in Minnesota. Help you practice with this. You just show me this. Turn the page.
God.
Right? Turn the page. And you know what else that looks like? Bye-bye.
Oh, God.
Bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Oh, TDS, dude.
We are turning the page.
You know what's crazy? Trump isn't even the president right now. So what the hell is she talking about? She's like saying turn the page on Donald Trump president. Like turning the page would be Trump winning. Like I don't understand, what the hell are they talking about? Our current page that we're on right now is Joe Biden, Kamala Harris presidency, not Donald Trump presidency. Their brains are so messed up. They think that turning the page means getting away from Trump when Trump is not the current president. What the hell?
Oh, my God. Bro,
52 days and we are turning the page.
I mean, look who she's married to.
Trump.
With him.
She is in no danger of ever having to give a Nobel Prize acceptance speech.
Their whole reenactment of this whole thing, Tom, we're familiar with this whole thing. The tassel to the left,
Yeah,
to the
the
right.
tassel.
We understand that. I'd like to turn the page on that. But here's the reality.
I'll be over here.
As much as I respect Stephen A. Smith, he is dead wrong, man.
Good job.
The whole concept that she needs to get out there and get out of the basement and she needs to put substance and put some meat on the bone and actually take some tough questions. No, she doesn't. I mean, do we want her to? Do we want her to face the challenge? Do we want her to step up and actually put her feet to the fire? Of course we do. Because I would venture to say that she is probably the least known presidential candidate ever. What do we actually know about her?
Nothing. They didn't vote for Adam. They didn't pick her.
She was coronated as a DEI candidate, per Joe Biden's words, in 2020. She was catapulted when Joe Biden had his meltdown. What do we know about her? We just figured out there's some guy named Tony West that apparently owes billions of dollars.
Yeah,
I don't know
embezzling.
what's going on with that. I don't know. I've never heard about that. What are her parent, her father, Marx's mother? What's going on with that? The sister. We don't really know that much about Kamala. But listen, if I'm her, I'm doing exactly what I'm doing. Rob, if you pull up to 538, do you know 2 months ago, she was minus 16 underwater favorability ratings. Minus 16.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel in the comments, but I kind of feel the same way as Adam, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I don't think Kamala Harris going out and showing her face in public is going to help her at all. I literally think the Democrat voters are so stupid that she can just not show her face ever, not do a rally ever, and then they can just say, vote for us, we're not Donald Trump, and they would have a chance of winning. You know, that's how they won the last election. I don't think they will unless there's some kind of foul play, because I think it's just going to keep flip-flopping over and over again because of the media cycle. I don't feel like going into that. I just have a prediction that I think that it's going to be Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat for quite a while, just because of how the media is nowadays and how people are so easily brainwashed and so easily swayed nowadays. Let me know in the comments what you think about what Stephen A. Smith had to say, and what Vinny said, what PBD said about what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Kamala Harris and about Donald Trump here on the PBD Podcast.